Have you ever wondered why a lot of people struggle to learn to recite the Quran fluently? Why is it so hard? Does it really feel hard? No. I'll give you some tips today on how to make this easy for yourself or a child and make the journey seamlessly easy for you and anyone that want to learn to recite Quran fluently. So have you or your child ever felt stuck reciting the Quran and break down all the reasons and prefer solutions on how you can really learn to recite the Quran yourself very soon in the next few weeks, inshallah. Among some of the reasons why a lot of people actually struggle to learn to recite the Quran fluently and learn to do that on time is lack of proper foundation. So when you're learning the Quran, you need to learn the foundation. A lot of teachers today are actually teaching students Quran reading, the read to the mouth of the student. They don't actually teach them the foundation in a very easy way. And so that way they're still very weak and they cannot read themselves and they feel frustrated when it's time for them to read. So you need to learn the foundation of the tajweed, and you don't have to learn all the rules of tajweed. There's some few things that you need to learn. In our program here in the Accelerated Quran Reading Program that has helped over 300 students, young kids and teenagers and adults learn to recite Quran fluently in just 4 months. We have just 8 simple modules that a beginner needs to learn, So you need to learn the rules of the letters, meaning how the letters are pronounced, the short vowel sound. You need to learn about the silent letters, the sukun. You need to learn about the med, how it works. You need to learn about the nonation rules. You need to learn about the shadda, the doubling rules. Plus, you need to learn about the moon and the sun lamp, and you need to learn about the huruf al-muqatta'a. These are foundation modules that you need to learn. You don't need to learn too much stuff in the beginning. You need to learn very little that's really going to help you understand the structure of the Quran words and Quran ayat. Secondly, among the reasons a lot of people actually having when they actually struggle to learn to recite the Quran fluently is inconsistent practice and poor learning habits. So when you start learning and there's no discipline, you really can fall the cracks. You can fall through the cracks and actually stop learning altogether. And so we have designed a method in our program here. For instance, it's called the student learning habit. So we'll let you see your progress every week. It's like a barometer showing you how you're actually going every week. So this helps students build consistency and build good habits of learning. So the learning habit is really, really important. So a lot of people actually struggle to learn to recite the Quran fluently because they have inconsistency, in habits of classes or homework or practice. It doesn't have to be every time, but when you want to do it, there needs to be some kind of consistency and some habits that needs to be good. So lack of inconsistency and poor learning habits are some of the issues. So the third problem why a lot of people actually feel stuck and they cannot learn to recite the Quran themselves on time and they get dropped out of Quran programs because a lot of programs do not have structure. They don't have a structured system to monitor progress, and they don't have a goal set for students. They hope, the kids can learn to recite the Quran in the next 1 year. Some teachers intentionally actually not teaching the kids correctly and just give them what they need to know and not really giving them how to make them independent themselves. So when you don't have a program that's structured, then you bound to actually learn the Quran with struggle. So we here, for instance, in program here, we call it the Accelerated Quran System. So there are 3 learning pillars which help students to track, to build, and to feel confident in themselves. We call it the PRT system, right? So this is the technique that we use in the program, which I'm going to explain in a bit. Another challenge a lot of students have is lack of motivation, and this really slowed down the progress. You can imagine you're 5 years old, 6 years old, learning the Quran. A lot of you might right now having your kids learn one-on-one online. It's really not the best way to have your child learn. They might feel excited in the beginning, but towards the mid or few weeks or month later, your child is going to be drawing back from the class. Why? Because it's really getting boring and they don't really love it anymore. So you are actually the one causing the bothersome and making them not liking the Quran. I've seen a lot of parents, they want their kids to learn to recite the Quran, but they want, I need a one-on-one class. I'm not saying one-on-one class is not good, but you see, students need what we call the learning environment. This is what we use in our program here to avoid lack of motivation. Students can learn in the same niche, in the same environment as the kids of their own age at the same level, and not too many students in the class. So we call it the winning environment. So your child needs a winning environment to get them excited and learn to have a long-term commitment to learning the Quran. So the fourth and the last problem a lot of people do have, which I've seen a lot of time, is lack of non-engaging environment. So the environment is so dull, and so what I mean by that is a lot of students learn there's no quizzes, there's no petitions, they don't have things to actually get them to remember the Quran class all the time, right? So you need to put all this into Quran learning program. So let me just recap those big problems that's making a lot of students, get stuck in learning to read the Quran fluently. One, lack of proper foundation of the basics of the Arabic and Tajweed, and there shouldn't be too much. 8 modules that I mentioned earlier needs to be learned correctly, and also inconsistent practice and poor learning habits could be some of the reasons, and it's been some of the reasons where a lot of students really fall behind, and it makes to feel that the teachers are actually not doing great. However, the teachers might be really smart and expert, but they don't have a way to make students to be consistent and help them develop good learning habits. So this is something that we do in the program. And also, a lot of programs do not have curriculum in the first place, and there's no any goal set for students. So this is a big challenge that can keep a student learning for many years without any result. Plus, lack of motivation, and this is really gonna slow down the progress and even make students drop out of Quran classes altogether. So you need to have a winning environment. And also, the last thing that's really making a lot of people, students, kids, teenagers avoid learning Quran is because the Quran classes are really not engaging. They're so very boring. Some of you have kids learning online, or you have them learning in the masjid. And when last did your child actually come to talk about their Quran class and feel excited about it to you? So think about that. So the 3 learning pillar system that we use in the program is called the build, the retain, and the transfer. So what does that mean? So the build entails we teaching students to learn to build of the Quran, Arabic, and the Tajweed. And plus, we help them learn to retain the classes lessons. So they're not just learning; they have a revision weekly to revise everything they've learned to make sure they still can remember them. The third part of the system is called the transfer. So you need to practice what you learn as you go. It's not about you memorizing; it's about you being able to practice and being an independent reciter and confident student. So whatever you learn, you're able to apply them on your own. So we have a homework method in the program here that's really helps students. So if you want to help your child fix this struggle, the best strategy for you is to practice the rules of the tajweed, the basic ones, and after that you can avoid the mystical foundation of weakness, and plus creating a winning environment for your child. So you need to have your child learn the basics of the basic 8 modules I mentioned earlier. Also, you need to have your child learn in a motivating learning environment. I call it a winning environment that's going to get them excited to learn to recite the Quran. You cannot do without this. And so our program here really helps students achieve this goal in just 16 weeks. So if you're really excited and what I've said today really moved you, and you want to see your child excel and succeed in this journey, you don't want them to drop out, I invite you to join our accelerated Quran learning program to help your child master the foundation of Tajweed and actually build consistent learning habits and build the skills to get them excited to learn to recite the Quran. So there's a link below this video for you to sign up today if you're really excited about this opportunity to help your child to learn to recite the Quran. So you need to reserve your spot in my one of my parent demo session, which I do have weekly, so you can get to see the breakdown of how this works and everything that will go into the program for your child. So comment below this video if you've experienced any of this struggle getting stuck. Share a comment in the video below, and maybe what's been the biggest Quran reading challenge for your child or for yourself. So I would like to see your comment in the video below. Let's see and hear what you have to say about this. Assalamu alaikum. See you next time.